I was so wrong on how I felt about The Way of Kings after my first time reading it. I've already done a little episode about that, but now I have finished my reread. Amazing. Here's my top 10 revelations, things that have hit me in a totally new way after rereading this book. Thanks for joining me today. My son Zach and I do this channel, Fantasy for the Ages, and we value each and every one of you who choose to watch our videos. If you would be so kind, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love it if you did so. Thanks again. Needless to say, this episode is a spoiler episode, mostly for The Way of Kings, but also for other elements of the Stormlight archive and even a little bit about the Cosmere in general. Of course, I'm not spoiling anything from Book 5 of the Stormlight Archive because that hasn't come out yet. It's coming out in December, which is why I'm doing a reread. Here's the top 10 things that hit me on this reread, and I'm just massively impressed with how much Brandon Sanderson packed into this book. And I did not appreciate it at all the first time. Number 10, the Ghost Bloods. They're embedded into the story right from the very beginning. Yes, we come to understand this later, but now that I've got those insights from the future, there are multiple actions in this book that are obviously resulting from the Ghost Bloods and what they're up to. Number 9, cultivation's involvement and the old magic. It was more obvious than I'd realized, and I love that. Number 8, Kaladin's abilities due to being able to absorb Stormlight. They're subtle at first, but when you know what you're looking for, they're there. They're way back early in the story, already making appearances. I appreciated being able to catch all the little nuanced bursts of energy and quickness and healing, things I didn't entirely comprehend the first time through. Number 7, knowing on the reread, again, spoilers, that Shallan has a shard blade. It was great being able to recognize times where she thinks about using it, where she actually starts to call it the callbacks to 10 heartbeats. I mean, it happened multiple times in this book. I didn't catch that at all the first time. Number 6, Taravangian. Man, knowing what I know now from all the way through Rhythm of War, you really see him in a different light. It's delicious. Number 5, the same goes for Zeth. I much more deeply appreciated reading his interludes now on this reread than I ever did the first time. So fascinating. Number 4, heck, all the interludes. They mostly confused and bored me the first time I read this book. May have been part of why I DNF'd it the first time and had to come back to it later. But now on a reread, I'm just loving the interludes, especially having read the rest of the Cosmere. These interludes are gold. Number 3, the chapter opening excerpts. Man, the first time through, I'm like, can I just skip these? I don't get it. These are boring, yawn, whatever. Well, they take on so much more meaning on this reread. From Yasna's research excerpts to the deathbed statements that are just packed with critical information. But when you have no context, it's tough. Now I'm gleaning so much meaning out of those. Number 2, the Bridge 4 elements of The Way of Kings. They were my favorite parts the first time I read it. Now, well, they're still my favorites, but by magnitudes of more awesomeness. And not just Kaladin. Rock, Lopen, Teft. Oh, my poor dear Teft. And Moash. Ugh. And that brings me to number 1. It's the biggest one for me on this reread. Moash. The writing is so on the wall as to what will happen later. It makes great sense. And when you're reading with that knowledge, you love Moash's journey in this book. And you appreciate his commitment, his transformation, his loyalty, fully allying with Kaladin and with Bridge 4, being so faithfully his here. But knowing what's to come, you can see the foundation is right in this book. It's all there. Wow. And I didn't even touch on how much I appreciated what I saw in Dalinar, and Adolin, Elokar, Renarin, Syl, Navani, even Wet. There's so many layers packed in here that you can't appreciate the first time you read it, but they're brilliant on a reread. Oh, final comment? Screw Sadius. That is all. If you have any comments on my comments, put them down in the comment box. That's what it's for. And look down in the show notes for other ways that you connect with Zach and I, our Discord server, social media, even an email address. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.